Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to create tabs using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. We're going to create everything from scratch, and I'll show you how to create the buttons, the tabs themselves using this CSS. So you guys can see that there are forms inside each tab, and then we have a confirmation tab which will display whatever the user has inputted in both the forms. So say I clicked on Chicago, typed in some data, you would see, so you see Chicago here, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that. And there's a submit button here which actually won't do anything, but that's what you would have to submit your data to your backend. So let's get started in Visual Studio Code, and I'm going to be using an extension called Live Server. If you guys don't have that, you'll want to download that. I have my 3 files created here. And I'm going to be using Emmet abbreviation to generate my HTML. So if I do Shift-1, Enter, it'll generate the HTML. I'm going to open it with Live Server. And also this code will be available in the description below. Just wanted to let you guys know that. So let's get started in the HTML. So we're going to have a title of tabs, and then in the body, we're going to have a main. And before we get started in there, let's link the style sheet and the JavaScript. And we'll do the JavaScript right before the body. We'll do script, source, index.js. Okay, so inside the main tag, we're going to have a section. And the section will have a class of tabs container. And then here we're going to have the tabs. So we're going to have this part right here, the music festival, contact, and confirmation. So we're going to do, so I'm going to be using Emmet to create the divs. So we're going to use a div, give it a class name, common class name of tab header. And then we'll give it an ID of tab-1-header times 3. And we're going to change the ID to 2 and 3. And in the divs, let's do 1 for music location. And this is just some dummy form that I've created. Contact and confirmation. Okay, so below that, we're going to have 3 sections. One, this will be the container for the forms of each tab. So we're going to do section. We'll give it a common class name of tab section. And we'll also give here a ID of tab-1 section times 3. Okay. So in each section, we're going to have some content like a form. We're going to have some buttons. And let's change the IDs to 2 and 3. Okay. So for now, what we can do is create the tabs first and kind of lay everything out. And then we can come back to HTML and add the buttons and the forms after. So in the HTML and the CSS, we're going to start with the tabs container class. And there we're going to display this using Flexbox. And by default, it's going to be, the direction will be row. And then we're going to give this a padding. Oh, no, sorry. We're not going to give the container a padding. That should be it for the container for now. We're going to actually give the padding to the tab header. So we'll do padding 15 pixels by 35 pixels. And then let's give it a background color. And I'm just going to copy what I have here. So there's going to be 2 background colors, one for just the general case, and then the other for whatever the active class is. So we're going to give an active class to the current tab selected. So let's see here. I have E0 F2 F1. Okay, perfect. And I'm going to give a border like I have here around each tab. So I can just do border 1 pixel solid 0, 0, 0. Perfect. And now I can style the headers. So, sorry, not the headers, the sections. So we can do tab section. And here we can have a border as well of 1 pixel, solid 0, 0, 0. And you're going to see these bunch of lines. So what we need to do is hide the second and third section, and we just want to show the first one. So I'm going to create some helper classes called show and hide. So I'll do display block, and then for hide I'll just do display none. So I'm going to give the first section a default of show, even though it already has display block. It'll just be for readability and maintainability. We'll give it that. And then hide for the second and third. Okay. And let's put some content. Let's just say hi. And then in the tab section, we're going to give it a padding of 10 pixels. Perfect. And let's give a percentage for the width. So we'll do the main tag and style it. So we'll give it a width of 90%. And this will kind of make it responsive for smaller screen sizes as well, without going into CSS media queries. But obviously you would want to use them. And let's make the tab headers a little bit smaller actually. Let's decrease the size. Let's do 8 by 15. Yeah, much better. Okay, and also I'm going to create a class called active, which will have which one tab header will have at all times. So we're going to give this a background color. And let's grab it from here. Let's see, what did I give this? So I gave this a hash of 009,688. And I'm going to also change the color of the text since it's a darker color. And I'll change it to EEE. So I'm going to give this class to the first tab header, active. Okay, and now, so that's it for the tab creation, the tabs, the styling for the tabs. So we have the first, second, third tab. We have the section for each tab. So let's create the button for each section, the buttons for each section. So the first section will only have one button. We'll give this a class of next btn, and then we'll call this next. And then let's give this an, that's it. Yeah, that's it. And we'll give it some styling, but let's create the buttons for the other two sections. So here we're going to have a div with a class of btn container. And here we're going to have two buttons. So let's do 2 button times 2, because we're going to have a previous and a next button here. And same thing, we're going to give this a class of next btn, and here we'll give this a class of previous btn. And the same thing here. I'm just going to copy and paste this. It'll be easier. The only difference in the third section, instead of having the next, we're going to do submit. it'll have the same styling as the next, just different functionality. Okay, so let's give the next button some styling. So we're going to do next BTN, and I'm also going to include the submit BTN as well. Okay, so we're going to give this some padding. So we can just do 5 pixels by 12 and see how that looks. Let's make it a little bit more wider. Let's do 15. And let's see if we can make it a smaller. There you go. And we're going to get rid of the border and the outline. And we're going to give this a background color. We're going to do the same thing as the active tab. Let's just do 009688. And let's change the text color to EEE. And we're going to position this to the right side. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to do position absolute, and we're going to give position relative to the section, tab section. Okay, so now here we can do right is equal to 10 pixels and bottom is equal to 10 pixels. And you'll see the positioning will get better. We're gonna create a form actually in our first section right now, and then we'll fix that position afterwards. In the form, the first form, we're gonna have 3 input checkboxes. So we can just do input times 3, and we're gonna change this to type checkbox. And I'm just going to copy paste that to the others. Okay, and then each of these will have a value. So first one, I just picked some random places. So the first one will be Chicago. Second one we'll do California. And the last one we'll do Texas. And we'll have to give some labels. So we're going to do label, and we don't need that. We're just going to say Chicago, and then we're going to put a break here. Let's give 2 breaks, and I'm just going to copy paste the label and the breaks, put it under each input. This will be California. And the last one will be Texas. Okay, and let's give this a title. So we can just do H3, and we can say pick a location. Perfect. So that's it for the first section. So now what I'm going to do by all the forms is I'm going to push everything down. So I'm going to do margin bottom by 10 pixels. So it pushes the buttons down so that it's not so congested, and it doesn't look like the button's on the same level as the form. So let's go to the next section. So I'm going to give this a class of hide and change the other class for the second section to show. And let's give the styling to the previous BTN class. So we'll do previous BTN. We're going to do the same thing, border none, outline none, and background color. I'll just give it the other tab. Let's see, the E0, F2, F1. Okay, not too bad. Give it the same padding of 3 pixels top and bottom and left and right 15. Let's give this a cursor of pointer. I forgot to add it to the other buttons. Okay, so that looks pretty clean. Let's add the form now for the second section. So let's add the title first. So let's do H3, and we're gonna just say contact information. We'll have the form, and let's just kind of give some spacing here. Okay. So inside the form, we're going to have 3 input boxes, text fields. So we can do input times 3, and we get text by default. Let's create the labels, and let's say first name. Yeah, I'm just going to copy and paste this. We'll do last name, and then we'll do email. And let's give some breakpoints here so it looks clean. Okay. And we also have to give breakpoints after each input. Okay. Looks good. I'm just going to add one more, guys, just to give it a cleaner look. Let's see how that, we don't need 2 under that. We just need the second one added after every input. Okay. There we go. Okay, so now let's hide this one. And let's show the last one. So submit and previous, good. And now here we're not going to have a form. We're just going to display something, the information in the other 2 sections. So we're going to do confirm, just do confirmation or confirm details, and we're going to have 3 p tags, and each p tag will have a different ID. So this will be confirm name. The second one will be confirm email, and the last one will be confirm location. Okay, so we're going to dynamically insert those using JavaScript, and I think we're done with HTML and CSS. We can get to the JavaScript and dynamically show and hide the tabs and insert the data. So I'm going to give this third section a default class of hide, and the first one a show. Okay, so there's a couple variables that we're going to have to declare in the JavaScript. So we'll do let first, sorry, not first. We're going to do tab1 header is equal to document.getElements by ID, tab-1-header. We're going to do the same thing for tab 2 and tab 3. So I'm going to copy and paste the first one and rename it to tab 2, then tab 3, and give this a tab 3. And we're going to do the same thing for the section. So we can just do tab 1 section and document.getElement by ID tab-1-section. I'm just going to copy paste the whole thing. Change it to 2 and 3 respectively. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is grab the next btn class. So I'm going to grab all the class. So I'm going to use document.querySelector all, so I can grab all of the nodes, all the buttons that have the class's next btn. So the way I'm going to do that is say let next btn equal to document.querySelector all, and then I'm going to say dot next btn. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have so what I'm going to get returned back from doing this is have an array of all the buttons. So what I can do is do next btn dot for each, and the for each will have a function, and inside the parameter we'll give it a button. The button will be each individual next button, and we're gonna just do button dot on click, and what we'll do is just simply call a function called next tab. We're gonna do the same exact thing for the previous btn, previous button. So we'll do document dot get dot query selector all, and then we'll do previous btn. So I'm just going to copy and paste this for each loop and rename this to previous btn, and the next tab, we'll give it a function of previous tab. So we have two functions that we'll need to create. Next tab. So now let me just show you how we're going to get how we'll get each individual button. So we're going to do console.log this. It'll pass in the button that we clicked. So as you guys can see, previous tab is not defined. Okay, let me just define that real fast. Okay, so if I click on next, you see that we get the button itself here. And what we need to do is we need to add a data attribute that will tell us what tab number we're currently in. So what I'm going to do here is say data-tab is equal to 1. And I'm going to do that for all the buttons. So here we would say data-tab is equal to 2 for previous and next. And for tab 3, we'll do the same thing here for the previous only, since we don't really care about the submits right now. So if I click on this, it'll see data tab 1. So what we want to do is say let tab number. We want to grab that data tab attribute. So we can say tab number is equal to this dot data set dot tab, and what we want to do is make sure that we're getting an integer back. So we can just force it to be an integer by saying parse int. And I'm just going to show you guys that I'm going to console.log this. So if I click on this next, we get 1. So now what we're going to do is we're going to have a switch statement here that will be tab number. We're going to have two cases here. We'll have case 1, break, and then a case 2. And then we'll have a default, which we'll just break for now. Okay. So in case 1, so what we want to do here is now we want to set the active class to tab 2. We want to hide the first section and show the second one. It's pretty simple. So we can do tab 1 header dot classlist dot remove, and we'll remove the active class. And then we can do tab 2 header tab1.classlist.add active, and then we can say tab1 section dot class list, and we're just going to set it equal to hide. And then we'll set tab2 section dot class list dot add to show. Actually, we're not going to do add since it already has a class of hide, just to avoid some confusion. Let's set it to brand new classes. So we can do tab section for the styling and show. So say I click on next, it will show the second tab now. And the same thing we're going to do for case 2. So I'm just going to copy and paste from case 1 and change all this for tab 3 instead of tab 2. So the first one we're going to say tab 2 now will remove the active class, tab 3 will add it, tab 2 will have the class list of hide, and tab 3 will have tab section and show. So I can click next on all these, and it should show all the tabs now. So that's it for the next tab. It's going to be very, very similar to previous. Now I'll copy and paste a tab number, and we're going to have a switch statement. We'll do tab number, but the cases will be different. So we'll do case numbers will be different. So we'll do case 2 break and case 3 break, and then we'll have the default. And this is where you would probably want to do your error handling. Say, you know, case 2 or 3 weren't what it wasn't case 2 or 3. You could say unexpected tab number or something like that. Please try again, or yeah. So in case 2, let's do case 3 first since we're in tab 3 right now. So we're going to do tab 3 header dot class list, and we're going to remove active. And then we're going to say tab 2 header dot class list dot add. We're going to say active. And now we're going to hide the third section. So as you guys can see, it's pretty tedious. But this is how you would go about removing or showing and displaying the tabs. So for tab 3 section, we're going to remove show. Actually, let's just set it to hide, make it consistent. And tab 2 will be tab 2 section class list. We'll set that equal to tab section show. And let's see if it works. Perfect. So I'm just going to copy and paste case 3 to case 2. And we'll just change these variables and we'll be good to go. So tab 3 will be tab 2. Tab 1 will be adding the active class. Tab 2 section will hide, and tab 1 section will show. So if we click previous here, perfect. So the last thing I wanted to show you guys, this doesn't really have to do with tabs, but I just wanted to display all the information in the third step, the confirmation step. So I can go below here, right above the functions. Actually, no. So we only want to do this when case 3 so case 2 in the next tab is selected. So when we're in step 2 and the user clicks next, we want to do all this, and then afterwards we want to display the confirmation details. So we can say we're going to create a function and just call it display details. We don't need to pass anything. We're going to get all that dynamically, so we'll do display details So in the third tab, we have 3 p tags. And so we're going to grab all the information. So first we'll go with let location equal to, so we want to get the input that is selected. So we can do document.querySelector input colon checked. And we can do dot value, not dot node value, just dot value. And then we can do dot let name equal to document dot get element by ID and its first name, plus we're going to do some string concatenation, put a space in between, dot get element by ID last name. Okay, and the last thing we want to do is grab the email. So we can do document.getElement by ID, and we can just say email dot value. So now we want to just display it. So we have 3 p tags, right? So we're going to do document.getElement by ID, and we call this confirm. What's the first one? We did name, email, location. So we could do confirm name dot inner HTML is equal to name. And I'm just going to copy and paste this 2 more times. And instead of name, we'll have email here. And the last one will have location. And confirm location. And confirm email. So let's see if this works. So we're going to do Chicago. Next, do some dummy data testing, test at testing.com. Oh, nothing got displayed. Let me see if am I calling the display details? Oh, there is a console error. Read property 67. Let me see if this is the right ID that I gave it. Oh, did I give these? Oh, I didn't give these IDs, so that's probably why. Oh, I don't need to give these IDs. I need to give these IDs. So I can do ID of first name. And ID of last name, and ID of email. Okay, so let's try again. So we'll do Chicago, do testing, email, testing.com. Okay, so we get the first 2, but we're not getting the first. We're getting objects. Okay. So name is returning an object. Oh, that's why. I need to get the value. Okay. Dot value. So everything should be working now. So I'm going to pick Texas this time. 3rd time's a charm. I'll just do my name test, test at testing. Okay, so all the information's there. You can click on previous, go back. So sometimes, you know, when you actually do have tabs, if you click on previous, you probably want to reset the data or keep it. You know, it's all up to how you want to display it to the user. But so that's it for the tabs. I hope you guys learned how to create tabs and saw how we created them from scratch just using pure HTML, CSS, and JavaScript without any framework. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you like it, please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.